What is nonspecific immunity or innate immunity? Both of these mean the exact same thing. So whenever you see these two names, just know they mean the exact same thing. Now, this nonspecific immunity is what your body does as soon as a pathogen comes into your body. And a pathogen, remember, is any bad thing trying to enter your body, like a virus or a bacteria or a fungi, anything that's trying to get into your body, just like coronavirus, to try and harm you. Okay? So for example, I'm gonna demonstrate what nonspecific immunity is using this analogy of a war zone. Okay? So these are the criminals. The criminals are bad, right? And the whole point of this wall is to prevent the criminals from entering your land. So this area here is your land, and these are your soldiers trying to protect your land. Now, as soon as these criminals find a way to get into your land, what happens now immediately is called nonspecific immunity. Okay? So immediately these soldiers are going to shoot or capture this guy and kill him. Okay? As soon as they find him. This happens immediately as soon as this bad thing enters. Okay? So that is all that nonspecific immunity is using this analogy. Okay? Something bad managed to get into your land and you kill it immediately. And no matter who it is. For example, it doesn't matter what the bad thing is. This guy could have been from, say this is let's pretend this is South Africa, okay, and you're protecting your land from any other country. You're trying to keep your land safe. So no matter if this guy was from India or China or America, no matter who this bad thing is that is entering our land, he will be killed the same way. So it doesn't matter where he's from or what he is, any bad thing entering will be killed the same way, be shot, okay? So that's what nonspecific immunity is. It is nonspecific, meaning it doesn't matter who it is or what it is or where it's from, as long as it's a bad thing, it will be killed. It's nonspecific. So let's look now at our real body and see how our real body relates to this situation, okay? So here we go. So remember, the skin, this is your skin and this is your blood. So you know as soon as you cut your skin, you bleed, right? Blood comes out and other things can come into your body. Now, the skin here represents this wall, okay? It's the barrier. And these criminals are represented by all of these here, the pathogens. For example, that's a bacteria, that's a virus. They are all things that can go into your body to try and cause harm. And this right here is the cells inside your blood. These are like the warriors or the soldiers trying to protect you from whatever comes in. Okay? So let's first make sure we know what exactly all of these are. So like I said before, these two are pathogens. Okay? They're two different types of pathogens, but regardless, they're bad things. They're pathogens. Okay? Here we have inside your blood, this is an erythrocyte. This is a red blood cell. So the job of a red blood cell is to carry oxygen around, right? To make sure all the tissues in your body, like your heart, your lungs, your whatever, your liver, all of it is getting enough oxygen to survive, okay? That's the whole part of erythrocytes. And erythrocytes is simply a translation of red blood cell. Erythro means red, and cyte means cell. Okay, so now we've got two of these aspects covered, the pathogens and the red blood cell. So now we got a little bit of a tricky part. So there are obviously more than just red blood cells in your blood, okay? Many other types of cells. So besides the red blood cells, another big type of cell is called the white blood cell, and I'm pretty sure you've heard of this. But this is actually a general term. It's called leukocyte. Leuko, again, it's a direct translation. So leuko means white, and cyte means cell. So there are other cells that are not red blood cells, but rather white blood cells. But like I said, this is a general term because there is no such thing as a white blood cell. There are many types of white blood cell. So you won't just look into your blood and be like, ooh, that's a white blood cell. No, because white blood cells there are many different types. For example, one type of white blood cell is a macrophage. Another type of white blood cell could be a neutrophil. Another type could be an eosinophil or a B lymphocyte or whatever. So the point is, a white blood cell is not a specific type of cell. White blood cell could be many types of cells. But all white blood cells, so all leukocytes, are involved in the immune response, meaning they are like guards. They're going to help keep your body safe. So no matter what type of white blood cell it is, it's going to help you keep safe. And like I just mentioned, one type of leukocyte is a macrophage, okay? And it is especially important in this innate or non-specific immune response. And you'll see what I mean. Okay, so now we know what is involved in the innate immune response. So let's say now the skin is broken, you got an injury. Now the blood is capable of leaving your body. That's why you bleed. But at the same time, if something is able to leave, that means something else is able to get in, and that's true. So right now, these pathogens or these bad things, these enemies, are able to get in to your blood, and that's what happens. So they come in, they manage to find a way, and they get in. Now, just like in the example above, as soon as these guys get in, the job of non-specific immunity is to kill them, no matter who they are, non-specifically. Doesn't matter who specifically they are, it's going to happen, and the same way. Okay, so these pathogens get in, and now what happens is non-specific immunity, and that is when macrophages, so remember, macrophages is a type of leukocyte, a type of white blood cell, and they pretty much engulf or eat these bad bacteria as soon as they enter. So for example, they'll go, let me try this. So they'll approach the bacteria and recognize that it's bad and eat it. For example, this one will also realize, oh, this one's bad, and it will eat it. So that is non-specific immunity. It doesn't matter which bacteria, which kind of pathogen it will eat it if it notices that it's a bad thing for your body. And how exactly does it eat it? Like, for example, I just put the guy over it. Now, what is the process called when a macrophage eats a pathogen like that? So this process is called phagocytosis. So know that macrophages is a type of white blood cell found in your blood that kills bacteria or pathogens, any kind of pathogen, through phagocytosis. This is a fancy word for just saying eating and destroying. Okay, so let me show you here. So for example, let's say this is the pathogen, and this blue blob right here is a macrophage. So this blue blob right here represents this cell. And this pathogen, so it will approach the pathogen. The pathogen will be engulfed by endocytosis. Maybe you've heard of that word. It will take up. Endocytosis just means to take up the particular thing. So for example, in this case, it's a virus. It will take it up into the cell, and then the next thing that will happen is one of the organelles in the cell called a lysosome. So this is a lysosome. Okay, one of these this organelle has many things inside it that is toxic to pathogens such as viruses. So for example, when this virus is engulfed by endocytosis, it will combine with this lysosome to make one large to mix. And as soon as they mix, the objects and the particles inside this lysosome are toxic, and so they will combine and destroy this virus. As you can see here, now they formed a bigger blob and the virus is destroyed. And as soon as the virus is destroyed by all these toxic substances, it will release it, kind of like pooping it out. And this process of releasing it is called exocytosis. So that is it. Phagocytosis is simply a macrophage or any kind of cell that is able to eat, taking up a sort of pathogen, mixing it with a lysosome, which has toxic substances in it. This will kill the specific pathogen, and then it ejects it, or does endocytosis. This way, the pathogen is destroyed and released, no matter what pathogen it is. So it could have been any pathogen. Now, this is smart because this process of non-specific immunity ensures that any bad guys that come in are immediately killed so that they don't really build up. But the problem is, non-specific immunity is not always good enough because it's quite slow. Because think about it, every guy that comes in, one soldier has to run to them and kill them. So it's quite slow. And the thing is, it's not so effective because no matter what pathogen it is, what bad guy it is, it's going to be killed the same way. For example, say this guy was bulletproof or had like a super strong vest on. If you shoot it, it's not going to kill it immediately. You'll have to take time and find another way. Therefore, non-specific immunity, since it uses the same method every time, is not that good because some of the pathogens can survive it. And so it's not as effective. It's slow and ineffective. And the same can be seen here. For example, a pathogen might come in and somehow it might be able to survive what this macrophage does to it. So it's not as good. It's not perfect. And this over time will mean that a lot of pathogens will build up inside your blood. And this will cause you to get sick and feel bad, basically. And so another process has to happen, which is called specific immunity. And this happens after non-specific immunity. And it's also called adaptive immunity because you have to adapt. Something came into your blood, now you have to adapt to try and kill it quickly because it's starting to build up. And adaptive immunity happens after innate immunity. So we'll cover that in part 4. It's a bit more complicated than non-specific immunity. Make sure to watch that after this one.